What if I told you that what you're going through right now isn't a coincidence? This screen you're looking at, the place where you're sitting, what you're feeling inside your chest, all of it is a reflection of something much bigger and more hidden than you can imagine. The 7 Hermetic Laws have come to you now because you're ready to get out of autopilot, ready to remember who you really are. But heads up, this isn't motivational content. This is a practical guide to awakening. And if you watch until the end, you won't just understand what's behind the laws of the KYBALION. You're going to learn how to use it right now to transform your reality. The entire universe is mental. And yeah, that changes absolutely everything. Picture for a second that the world you see isn't reality, but a reflection, a hologram generated from your mind. Not just any mind, but the mind of the all. The mind that holds galaxies and thoughts together. That holds you. This isn't just a nice concept. It's the first and most powerful Hermetic law, mentalism. And you're about to find out what that really means. So before we move on, breathe. Quiet your mind. Feel the energy of this moment. Because after you hear this, you won't be able to live the same way anymore. Let's begin. Mentalism, the deepest secret of existence. Imagine for a second that everything around you, this screen, your hands, the air you're breathing, is nothing more than a cosmic dream. A dream so vivid you'd swear it was real. That's the essence of mentalism, the first and most fundamental Hermetic law. The ancient sages of Egypt knew this. The mystics of the East understood it. Now, this truth is right in front of you. The entire universe is a mental projection. But not just any mind. The infinite mind that some call God, others call Source, and the Hermeticists simply called the All. Here's what nobody told you about how this works in practice. Every morning, before you even open your eyes, you're in the most powerful state to create your reality. Your brain is in theta waves, the same frequency as the most vivid dreams. In that exact moment, you have direct access to the quantum field where all possibilities exist. Try this right now. When you wake up, before grabbing your phone, before thinking about the day's problems, close your eyes and visualize your perfect day. But don't just think about it, feel it. Hear the sounds of that reality. Feel the textures. Experience the emotions as if you were already living it. You are literally programming the matrix of your reality. And when something pisses you off during the day, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what thought in me created this situation? You'll realize it's not the outside events that need to change, but the inner frequencies that attract them. Your brain is a quantum antenna. Every thought you have sends out waves that ripple through the fabric of the universe. Positive thoughts aren't just nice, they create neural patterns that activate your creativity, your intuition, your ability to see opportunities where others see problems. But heads up, this isn't shallow positive thinking. It's conscious mental alchemy. When you shift your inner patterns, the universe is forced to respond, not through magic, but through the same laws that turn a seed into a tree and an idea into an invention. You are not in this universe. The universe is in you. And once you truly understand that, nothing will ever be the same again. Now, take a deep breath. Look around. Everything you see started as a thought. What reality do you choose to create today? Correspondence, when the universe starts speaking your language. Have you ever had that weird experience where an internal problem showed up right in front of your eyes? Like when you're feeling weak and out of nowhere your shoe heel breaks, or when you're emotionally overwhelmed and your computer crashes with everything you were working on. That's not a coincidence. It's the law of correspondence whispering to you through physical reality. The great masters of Egypt built pyramids that perfectly mirrored the star map of Orion. Medieval alchemists searched for the same properties in lead that they found in human beings. All of this because they understood the secret. The microcosm and the macrocosm are made of the same essence. Try this now. Look at your desk. Every object out of place, every crumpled paper, every pen that's out of ink is telling you a story about your mental processes. That pile of unorganized documents, it's the physical manifestation of the procrastination you feel around some important project. That dusty corner you keep putting off cleaning, a perfect mirror of that area in your life you've been neglecting. But here's what the books don't tell you. When you clean physically, you're doing way more than organizing. You're sending a direct command to your subconscious. Every item you put in its right place creates a new neural pattern, like you're reprogramming your brain to create order in your life as a whole. That controlling boss who drives you nuts. He's showing you where you're still unable to break free from your own need to overly control things. That friend who's always late. A crystal clear reflection of how you delay your own dreams. Even that rude stranger in traffic is there to show you parts of yourself that still need love. Do this powerful exercise tonight. Write down 3 situations that pissed you off today. For each one, ask yourself, when do I act like this with myself? Write down the answer with no filter, just the first thing that pops into your mind. You'll uncover patterns so clear it'll feel obvious, but that were hiding in plain sight the whole time. When the ancients said, "Know thyself and you will know the universe," they were revealing that every external conflict is a golden opportunity for self-transformation. That co-worker who talks behind your back, a gift from the universe to help you learn how to set boundaries. That bill that came in way higher than expected, a sign to rethink your self-worth. Vibration, the cosmic dance that syncs your destiny. And when you start seeing life as a reflection of your inner world, you inevitably come face to face with a key question. What exactly are you putting out there? Because everything vibrates. Nothing is still. Not the rock, not the thought, not the silence, not the bottled up anger. This is the 3rd key of Hermetic wisdom. Vibration. Your entire life, everything you feel, attract and hold on to is directly proportional to the frequency you maintain. But what does that actually mean in practice? Start paying attention to how you feel during the first 10 minutes of your day. Before any outside input, what's your vibrational signature? Do you wake up feeling light, inspired, with a sense of presence? Or do you get up already rushed, worried, carrying this existential sense of being behind that you can't even name? Your vibrational field starts being built the moment you wake up. And more importantly, it's not fixed. It recalibrates all the time. Most people think vibration is connected to what they want to achieve, but it's not. Vibration doesn't respond to your desire, it responds to your state. You can wish for peace but vibrate anxiety. You can want abundance but carry a frequency of lack. You can be chasing love but living in a vibration of self-sabotage. And the universe responds to what you are, not what you want. So stop asking yourself, what do I want? And start asking, what am I putting out? Gratitude, resentment, lightness, urgency. That radar is more important than any goal-setting plan. And here comes a game-changing practice. Recalibration rituals. These are simple vibrational anchors you can use throughout your day to remember who you are and not get swept away by the mental and emotional waves of your surroundings. Leaving work and heading home, about to shower, starting a project. Use these moments as transition portals. Put on high-frequency music. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths and affirm with intention, I am vibrating in my original frequency. That simple sentence is a code. It's a command to remember your essence before the world's noise kicked in. Another powerful practice is vibrational fasting. Disconnecting for 24 hours from news, social media, and any content that drags your energy down. This is more than just a digital detox, it's a spiritual realignment. You'll notice that when you step away from the heaviness, your perception expands, your field clears up, your emotions stabilize, and don't feel guilty for avoiding draining conversations. Protecting your vibration isn't selfish, it's wisdom. Polarity. Emotions aren't enemies, they're portals for transmutation. Maybe now you're asking yourself, but what about when I feel divided inside? When my heart wants one thing, but my mind says another. When I wake up in peace, but by the afternoon I catch myself reacting with anger, judgment, discouragement. That's where the fourth principle comes in. Polarity isn't just about extremes, it's about the bridge between them. And that bridge is you. The law tells us that everything in the universe is dual, hot and cold, light and dark, love and hate, courage and fear. But the most precious detail is that these opposites aren't separate things. They're just two ends of the same thing, and you can move between them. In the KYBALION, there's a line that changes everything. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. That means hot and cold are just different vibrations of the same energy called temperature. The same goes for emotion. Love and hate, for example, are part of the same vibrational axis. They're not different emotions, they're polarized states. And here's the practical secret. If everything has two poles, you can transmute a negative emotion into a positive one through directed will. It's not about suppressing or pretending, it's about consciously moving within the spectrum. Felt anger? Use it as fuel for constructive action. Felt fear? Use it as a signal to reassess your boundaries and strengthen your discernment. What you feel is never the problem. The problem is when you blindly identify with the extreme and get lost in it. Now here's an important point that rarely gets said. When you run from discomfort, it grows. But when you face what you're feeling, name it and breathe through it, you take the wheel of your inner state. That's the principle of polarity in real life. Take a deep breath. Feeling sadness? Great. That means you still care. That something inside you is calling for movement, for transformation. Instead of trying to numb that feeling, ask, what's the opposite of this? And what can I do right now that moves me even 1 degree closer to that other state? That's the path of the alchemist. You don't eliminate the lead, you refine it until it becomes gold. So the next time emotion hits like an avalanche, remember, you don't have to become what you feel. You can move between the poles, with awareness, with practice, with truth. Energy practice. When you notice yourself taken over by a heavy emotion, say the name of the emotion out loud. That pulls the feeling out of the unconscious and into the field of clarity. Then, do the 4 to 7, 8 breath. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and vibrationally brings you back to your center. Rhythm. The dance of cycles can be your ally or your burden. If you've learned how to move between the poles, then you're ready to see the intelligence guiding that movement. Because the universe doesn't swing back and forth by accident. There's a force behind all those ups and downs, and that force is called rhythm. Rhythm isn't just a pretty metaphor, it's happening all the time. In your body, in your emotions, in nature's cycles, in energy highs and lows. The law of rhythm is what explains why, after extreme euphoria, comes that emotional hangover. Ever noticed? One day you're pumped, full of energy, everything's flowing, and the next day you feel tired, bored, maybe even sad for no apparent reason. That's not weakness. It's rhythm seeking balance. Nature doesn't hold on to extremes for long. The pendulum that swings hard in one direction will inevitably swing just as hard in the other. That's why deep excitement, like a dopamine spike after an achievement, a super pleasurable experience, or even digital overstimulation, is often followed by a feeling of emptiness. It's not just psychological, it's physical, emotional, and energetic. The problem is we've been conditioned to resist the low phases. Productivity culture demands that we're always up, always delivering, always on. But that disconnects us from our own nature. And the more you deny the descent, the heavier the cost. Resisting rhythm only makes the pendulum swing harder. So how do you apply this law in real life? First, accept it. You're cyclical. Your energy isn't linear. There are moments of expansion and moments of retreat. Learn to read your own signals. If you're feeling more inward, not so driven to act, don't force productivity. Go into study, reflection, integration. That's not wasting time. That's preparing your inner ground for the next action cycle. Another key point, Sync yourself with nature's rhythms. The whole universe moves in cycles, days, seasons, moon phases. When you align your intentions with those flows, everything moves with more ease. New moons are great for introspection, journaling, subtle planning. Full moons are energetic peaks, perfect for decisions, harvesting, visibility. Honor that movement. Honor your own movement. And during the highs, the days of big inspiration, excitement, or creativity, enjoy it. But don't lose yourself in it, because the wise one is the one who celebrates the rise but is already grounded for the fall. They don't panic when the energy shifts because they understand the dance and they learn to dance with it. Energy practice. Start a cycle journal. For 30 days, track your energy levels, emotions, focus, and motivation. Compare them with the lunar cycle, your habits, and your environment. You'll start to see repeating patterns, and more importantly, you'll learn to flow with them instead of fighting them. Cause and effect. Nothing is luck, everything is sowing. And when you start noticing the rhythms of life, you begin to realize that nothing happens randomly. Everything you experience has an origin. Everything that finds you has a root. And that's where the sixth Hermetic principle comes in like a sharp mirror: cause and effect. The law that forces us to look at the ground we're standing on and ask ourselves with brutal honesty, what did I plant here? Cause and effect teaches us there's no such thing as luck. There's alignment, there's consequence, there's a hidden intelligence behind every situation you go through. What seems like coincidence is actually the unfolding of an invisible chain of decisions, thoughts, and frequencies that were generated by you, consciously or unconsciously. Life doesn't roll dice with anyone. It responds. So when something happens to you, a crisis, a loss, an unexpected success, the usual reaction is to say, I don't get why this is happening to me. But the real question is, where was this cause planted? At what moment, even a small one, did I throw that vibration into the field? This law is also known as the law of karma, but unlike the distorted mainstream idea, karma isn't punishment. Karma is return. It's the most sophisticated spiritual feedback system in the universe. What you send out comes back. What you nurture in thought, word, emotion, and action eventually grows and finds you, not as punishment, but as learning, as consciousness refinement. And we're not just talking about big, visible actions. The KYBALION makes that very clear. Every thought counts. Every feeling shapes. Every intention is a causal agent. And the most dangerous part is, the field doesn't care if you're joking or being just dramatic. It simply records. Because vibration, it doesn't lie. Want an example? Someone who's always saying, no one values me, even if just venting, is constantly sending out the frequency of being undervalued. The result? They attract situations, people, and events that confirm that pattern. And this isn't some sugar-coated law of attraction. This is Hermetic law in action. Every cause has an effect. Every signal gets a response. Every creation answers its creator. So what can you do with this in practice? First, drop once and for all the idea that things just happen. That mindset is the gateway to victimhood, passivity, the belief that you're at the mercy of fate. You're not. You're co-creating your reality all the time. What you see on the outside is a reflection of the seeds planted inside, even if you don't remember the exact moment you planted them. Second, bring presence to the little actions. Everything communicates. The way you talk to a stranger, the intention behind a message, the feeling you pour into a task, the thought you repeat before falling asleep. It's in those subtle moments that you shape the ground of what's coming. Third, when an uncomfortable situation shows up, shift the question from, why is this happening to me? To, what is this happening for? And go further. What part of me generated this attraction field? This isn't about blame. It's about power. If you caused it, you can change it. The KYBALION also reminds us that when you truly understand this law, you stop being tossed around by external forces and start becoming a master of causes. In other words, you rise above the unconscious crowd that only reacts to what happens. You start living with spiritual strategy. You plant with awareness. Want to practice? Start a cause journal. At the end of each day, write down, what were my dominant thoughts today? What emotions came up the most? What words did I speak? What actions did I take? Even small ones. And alongside that, record what happened in your day. Over time, you'll start noticing patterns. You'll realize the effects aren't so mysterious after all. They have a source, they have an address, and the address is you. Another powerful practice is to observe repeating effects. Those situations that keep coming back, the same kind of relationship, the same kind of disappointment, the same sense of lack. When the effect repeats, it's because the cause is still active. Something inside you is still sending out the same signal. That's an invitation to investigate, not to punish yourself. Here's a deep key. Your conscious mind might want something, but if your subconscious mind is putting out a different vibration, the field will respond to the deeper one. Meaning, it's no use wanting abundance while vibrating fear. It's no use wanting love while carrying rejection. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're consistently vibrating. So live like someone who knows they're planting all the time, like someone who doesn't waste words or emotions, like someone who understands that every moment is a fertile one. The field is always listening. And once you realize that, you start choosing your causes with maturity, because you know you're creating your own destiny, one thought at a time. But to really understand this, not with the mind, but with the body, with the soul, you have to stop focusing only on what's happening and start asking, what planted this here? Listen to this story so you can understand it better. Once upon a time, in a small village hidden among the mountains, there lived a farmer named Elior. He was a simple man, quiet, but with a generous heart. Every day, Elior would wake up before the sun, tend to the land, feed the animals, and offer part of his harvest to his neighbors in need. He didn't do it expecting anything in return. He did it because he believed the land gives back everything you offer to it. Meanwhile, in the same village, there was another man named Ravid. Ravid was known for being clever in business, ambitious, but also selfish. He rarely helped anyone and spent his days scheming ways to make more profit, even if it meant stepping over someone else. Time went on. One day, a massive storm hit the village. Rivers overflowed, crops were destroyed, houses collapsed. Ravid lost almost everything, including the barn where he stored all his wealth. He ran through the village in desperation, looking for help, but no one offered him shelter or food. No one. Doors were closed. Elior, on the other hand, also lost a lot. But surprisingly, his house stood strong. Some of his crops survived, and even more surprising, dozens of people from the village started showing up with seeds, wood, tools. They came to help rebuild his house, return food, and share the little they had. Ravid, seeing all this, asked bitterly, "Why is everyone helping him and leaving me alone?" An old elder, who heard the question, replied, "What you harvested today was what you planted in silence over the years. The storm was the same for everyone, but the soil that responds is the soil that was nourished with intention." This little fable holds the heart of the principle of cause and effect. It's not about being nice just to get something back. It's not about trying to control outcomes. It's about recognizing that every act of yours, every word you speak, every recurring thought is shaping the invisible landscape of your life. Generation. The world is born inside before it's born outside. And when we understand that everything we experience is the result of previous causes, thoughts, decisions, internal postures, we arrive at a principle as deep as it is quiet, the principle of generation. This isn't just the last of the 7 Hermetic principles, it's the one that speaks to the creative force in its purest essence, the energy that originates, the spark that fertilizes. The law of generation says that everything in the universe is generated from the union of 2 fundamental principles, the masculine and the feminine. And this has nothing to do with gender. It's about forces. The masculine is action, direction, drive. The feminine is receptivity, gestation, intuition. All creation is born from the interaction between these two poles. All of it, including you. But this is one of the most forgotten principles of our time. Why? Because we live in a culture that glorifies doing, producing, executing. Action became a synonym for value. Hurry has been romanticized. And silence, the creative void, the time for maturing, the womb of ideas, has been discredited. The thing is, masculine energy without the feminine leads to exhaustion. You might have great plans, discipline, goals, but if you don't have inner space for those impulses to be nurtured, matured, fertilized, you'll just burn out. And the opposite is also true. Just imagining, idealizing, feeling. Without action, without structure, without putting it into the world, becomes frustration, becomes spiritual self-deception. So the question is, how's your internal balance? Do you listen to your intuition before acting? Or do you run over your feelings in the name of productivity? Do you allow your ideas to mature in silence before putting them into practice? Or are you trying to force a premature birth that quickly collapses? This principle also applies to relationships, projects, decisions. A partnership, for example, might seem promising, but if it's all drive with no listening, all speaking with no receiving, all desire with no care, it's going to be born out of alignment. And what is born out of alignment, sooner or later, needs to be rebuilt. So pause for a moment now. Feel. Where have you been too much in doing? And where have you just been idealizing without acting? The harmony between these two movements, action and reception, is the secret to true creation. And here's something the ancient masters already knew. The visible world is always the last to know. The invisible already happened first. The idea was already gestated. The vibration was already sent. The field was already informed. Only then does form appear. In other words, the world is born inside before it's born outside. What are you gestating right now? And once you recognize the creative power pulsing inside you, your awareness opens to an even subtler truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you vibrate. Life responds to your frequency, not your requests. That means it's not enough to want something, to visualize it, to repeat affirmations. If your body, your emotion, and your attitude vibrate scarcity, fear, or avoidance, that's what the field will reflect back. If you felt that this content touched you in some way, I left a pinned comment below with the link to get the full book on the 7 Hermetic Laws for those who want to truly dive into this ancient wisdom. Oh, and if you'd like to support the channel more directly, there's also a special link for anyone who feels called in their heart to help share content like this with the world, because when you support, you become part of the work. You become the bridge. See you in the next video. Until then.